Hare Krishna. So till now we have seen from the verse number 3 till verse number 10. So throughout these verses, Duryodhana is using his full diplomacy and doing what? Trying to make sure that his army will give him full support, especially the top ones, especially the stalwarts. And we have seen that how he taunted Dronacharya, how he tried triggering anger in him. And then we also saw that how he glorified Dronacharya, how he glorified the other stalwarts, and how he exclusively glorified Bhīṣma in the last verse, that's the 10th verse that we discussed yesterday. So he says, balam bhīṣmābhirakṣitam. So he's saying that you are perfectly protected by whom? By Bhīṣma. And now in this particular verse, we'll see, in the last few verses, he got all the people on the higher rung like Bhīṣma, Drona, Karna, Kripa and others. But now, what about the other soldiers who were there? What about them? So this particular verse is meant for all of them. Let's see what Duryodhana says here. The verse goes like this, verse number 11 of chapter 1. Ayaneshu cha sarveshu yatha bhagam avastitaha bhīṣmam eva abhirakṣanto bhavantah sarva eva hi. So here Duryodhana is saying, sarveshu yatha bhagam, sarveshu everywhere, yatha bhagam, all of you have been divided in groups and differently arranged. And avastitaha, be situated there. And he's telling something very, very specific. He is saying, ayaneshu, be in your strategic positions. Now the soldiers might be thinking, you glorified everyone else, and now you're telling us, you be here, you be there, you're just ordering. So now, to glorify the soldiers or to inspire the soldiers, he adds the next line. He says, Bhavantaha, all of you, you have a very, very, very important task. And what is that? He says, Bhīṣmam eva abhirakṣantu. He's saying that you all have a very important task. And that task is Rakshantu. You all have to support, protect Bhīṣma. From where? Sarva eva hi, from all sides. So basically here, in this particular verse, Duryodhana is trying to inspire all the soldiers and he's telling them very, very diplomatically, you all are very, very important. Very, very important. So before we go into the details of this verse, let me tell you something from the background. So Dronacharya and Bhīṣma were on the side of Duryodhana, and Duryodhana was fully confident that these two personalities will support him. Why did he have this confidence? All of us know what happened in Draupadi Vastraharan. So when Dushasan, very mercilessly, when he was trying to disrobe Draupadi in the entire assembly, at that time Draupadi was piteously calling out for help, and she was looking up to these great personalities, to all the elders in the Kuru dynasty, and she was calling out for help, especially from Dronacharya and Bhīṣma. But at that time, both Dronacharya and Bhīṣma, they remained silent. And that silence said that they are giving full support to Duryodhana. So Duryodhana was very clear and Duryodhana was very confident that these two personalities will surely give full support to me in this battle like they supported me previously in the gambling match. But then still he's trying his best to glorify them and make sure that whatever little sympathy also they have for Pāṇḍavas, that also goes away and they give their best when it comes to fighting. Now in this particular verse, you look at this, it's very, very clear. 2 consecutive verses Duryodhana is calling out the name of Bhīṣma. So this actually goes on to say that Duryodhana had complete faith in Bhīṣma and he was depending on Bhīṣma to win this war, to win against the Pāṇḍavas. This was very, very clear. But then this particular verse which we are reading, so this particular verse is actually talking about the importance of the soldiers along with the importance of Bhīṣma. So look at these wonderful lines what Prabhupada is mentioning in the purports. So he's saying in the first few lines that he emphasized that Bhīṣma Dev was undoubtedly the greatest hero. But he was an old man. So this is what Duryodhana is trying to tell all the soldiers, that Bhīṣma Dev undoubtedly, no, he's a great hero. But then what to do? He's an old man. He's an old man. So everyone must especially think of his protection from all sides. He might become engaged in the fight and the enemy might take advantage of his full engagement on one side. So basically, he's telling that this person is old, and when he'll be fighting with one enemy, there'll be many others who might come and fight with him. So it might happen that from the other side, Bhīṣma will be killed. So all of you give protection from all sides to Bhīṣma. So this is what very nicely he's mentioning here. But then a very important lesson for all of us in this particular verse, in fact in the series of verses that we just went through. From verse number 2 to verse number 11, we are discussing about the diplomacy of Duryodhana, and we discussed about different great personalities on the side of Duryodhana. And every single personality was really a great personality. Maharatha, Athiratha, Bhīṣma is Athiratha. But still, you see, all of them were ruined at the end. All of them were destroyed. A very important learning for all of us is association will decide our destination. So what sort of association we have, that will actually decide what will be our next destination. See, one thing is very clear. Our life is very short. And we have got a very high goal in this human form. And what is that high goal? We have to break the cycle of birth and death. And when we have such a high goal, then how can we think of deviating from this goal by associating with people who are not focused towards this goal? As soon as we associate with some people who are very light, who are not at all interested in attaining perfection of human form, we'll also get deviated and just be with them and march towards whichever path they are marching towards. So one important thing that we all have to understand is, somehow or the other, we have to be in the association of devotees, staunch, bona fide, authentic spiritual practitioners. So when we are with them, what happens is, we will be inspired, we will be enthusiastic to practice devotional service, practice spirituality on day-to-day basis. And when we do that, surely we will be marching towards the perfection of human form of life, or else we will also meet the same sort of destruction what these great personalities met, especially when it comes to Karna. People talk so much about Karna nowadays. There's so many authors who are writing about Karna, and people are glorifying Karna. No doubt, Karna was a great person. But then the biggest mistake that this personality did was he sided with Duryodhana. He took the side of Duryodhana and he fought against the Pāṇḍavas. This was the biggest mistake that he did. So the learning for all of us is, we shouldn't repeat this, or we shouldn't do this mistake, and make sure that our association is proper. We have to be very vigilant in what association we are in. So we'll see from the next verse onwards. Now, the entire text will change and the scene is going to change. Now, we have been seeing Duryodhana's diplomacy. Now we are going to see how the war is about to begin. So let's meet tomorrow and discuss the next verse. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.